Today I'm getting reels and in the feels, my passionate cooking friends. I want to share with you 3 things that nobody else is going to tell you about starting your personal chef business, because I don't just want to inspire you to start your own personal chef business and get paid to do what you love on your own terms. I don't just want to teach you tips and tricks for getting started faster and easier, for doing step-by-step from beginning to end, to all the things and strategies you can use to get clients. That's all great. But if you haven't started yet, I want to be honest here about the downsides too, so that you don't go into this with rosé colored glasses on and end up miserable or hating it or quitting, because that's just a massive waste of your time, right? Hey there, Chef Shelly here. I've had a successful personal chef business I love for over 15 years. And if you're a passionate cook, I help people just like you start their own personal chef businesses, because you can 100% get paid to do what you love on your own terms. You don't have to do nights, weekends, and holidays if you want. You don't have to deal with staff or working for somebody else if you don't want to. You can have your own business doing what you love and make great money doing it. So the first thing that you may not have heard me say, which is why I think it's important to talk about this, is starting your own business when that initial excitement wears off is hard. There is a lot to learn, which can feel crap, and there is a lot of work to be done. In my Personal Chef Business Academy, we talk about the parts that are hard and the struggles, and even being able to do that with other people helps a lot. And it can make all the difference between getting through the harder parts and breaking through to the fun part, the cooking for paying clients, and either petering out or failing or just being miserable during that time. So if you're subscribed here on my YouTube channel, you've heard me talk about there are a ton of ways to make it easier. It doesn't have to be that hard, and you're well on your way. But it's not just the getting started that's hard. If you're struggling with confusion, or you're overwhelmed at all the things you have to do, or you can't figure out your local health ordinances, all that stuff in the beginning, a lot of times what personal chef business owners really struggle with the most comes later, and that's when it comes to getting clients. So number 2 is the downside, and yeah, there's a downside. You would never think this, to getting to do what you love, having a business, living in your passion of, getting paid to cook, the thing you love more than anything. That can totally lead to burnout. Y'all, the burnout struggle is real. If you're under pressure and under stress for a long time, you can end up feeling frustrated and negative, and that can bleed over into how you feel about cooking for your clients, how you feel about your clients, and even about cooking in general. As a side note, the best thing you can do here is to avoid it and try to take care of yourself. And as a matter of fact, I did a whole video on cooking burnout that I'm gonna link below. Because in addition to doing what you're passionate about all the time and then being under pressure because you're doing it to make money, there's also the fact that you're a solopreneur. You're pretty much on your own, and that comes with a whole set of issues itself too. So burnout and losing your passion for cooking, even if it's just kind of a temporary waning, if it's not something you address, it can really evolve into something more serious. So if you find yourself losing motivation, if you're having trouble getting excited about even other things besides cooking that you used to really enjoy, and you're just frustrated about everything and generally feeling crap for an extended period of time, this can really be a sign of something more serious, whether it's just seasonal depression. Right now it's April, we're coming out of another long, cold, dark, crappy winter, whether you're struggling with hormonal changes, or whether this is something that might be more chronic. Talk to somebody. Talk to a friend, talk to a family member, talk to a professional. Take care of yourself. Do not hesitate to ask for help when you need it. You should treat yourself like you would a good friend if they needed help, right? You wouldn't just put them off or tell them to suck it up or, nothing's really wrong. I don't know what you have to be unhappy about, right? You wouldn't say that. Be compassionate to yourself just like you would to your bestie, because none of us are here alone, right? And we all need support at some time from others. Again, there's a link below to that longer video on burnout. If you're struggling that right now, I hear you. So finally, that's taken us into number 3. And of the 3, the second one's probably the most serious, and the first one's the most scary, but this is probably the worst one. No matter how critical we are of our own food, and we all do it, right? When you're passionate about cooking. Oh, I should have done this. It needs more of that. Oh, this doesn't taste that great. That's all fun and masochism until somebody else doesn't like our food. And not just doesn't like your food, but tells you they don't like your food, complains to you that they don't like your food, maybe asks for their money back, maybe even puts it out there on Yelp, Google, or somewhere else on the interwebs. And again, as creative people, because all passionate cooks are creating, even if you've never made up your own recipe, the act of cooking is creating. And as creative people, we are plenty critical of ourselves and our food. But when someone else is, that takes it to a whole new level. I remember doing a small catering. It was a dinner party, and I got all the food prepared and I set it up, and they didn't want service, so I left, and I was gonna go back the next day to pick everything up. And I thought everything went great. The food was delicious, everything looked beautiful. It was gonna be a fantastic event, right? That's what I thought, until the next day when the client called me to tell me that she thought the cake was terrible. She was embarrassed. It ruined her whole event. Now, aside from her actual complaint, which was terrible enough to hear, I still had to go back to pick up all the trays and the servingware and decor, so I had to see her in person. After I freaked out for a while, I decided how I was going to handle it was apologize profusely, give her a partial refund, suck it up and just go get my stuff and be a professional. And actually, thank God it turned out she wasn't home. It was just her husband. So thank goodness for small mercies. But listen, even though you might not want to hear this, we are human. We're gonna F something up. Nobody's perfect. That's actually the opposite of being human. And this is so relevant to our cooking, because as pros, we're not gonna screw up too often, but food is subjective, like art. Just because I love raw oysters doesn't mean you do. Some people like haggis. If you don't know what that is, it's organ meat stuffed into the stomach of the animal and then cooked. Some people like vitello tonetto, that Italian dish I've talked about with thinly sliced veal with a cold tuna fish sauce on top. How about circus peanuts? How about Velveeta? How about pineapple on pizza, right? There is something that's disgusting for someone that's absolutely 100% beloved by someone else. It is just like art. And just because I look at it and think my kindergartner could draw it, doesn't mean that a famous artist can't get $100,000 for it from someone, right? But realizing that it's all opinions and not facts usually when it comes to food preferences, this can be super painful when it's your food and someone doesn't share your opinion of how great it is. So these are 3 things that I did not anticipate when I started my own personal chef business that have been challenging and or painful. And again, I don't don't say this and tell you these stories about my mess ups to scare you or discourage you or anything. I am just being honest and transparent. So you can go into the journey of starting your personal chef business prepared, the things you need to do, establish a really strong support system. Then you're gonna set yourself up for success, not only financially, but mentally too. So if I haven't totally scared you off by this point, and you're interested in seeing what it's like to do a personal chef service, AKA meal prep service for a paying client, you can get my free guide. There's a link below, and I walk you through exactly what a cook day is like and how you do it for a client. And you can use that guide and practice and improve your skills and confidence. And if you love it and decide you do want to start your own personal chef business, join us in the Personal Chef Business Academy, where I can support you one-on-one to build a business you love, making the income you want, and you don't have to work nights, weekends, holidays. You don't have to work for someone else's restaurant. You don't even have to go to culinary school, because I'm telling you, the clients are out there and they're hungry for what you're cooking.